Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You're going to get to see from start to finish this 16 by 32 concrete slab we're doing at the golf course today. So the first thing we're going to do is lay out the forms. Now, the people who did the excavation here, they're the ones that dug this soil out, added the crushed rock, and then they kind of shaped the slab so it's 12 inches thick on the edges and 6 inches thick in the middle. We basically call this a haunch slab. We do a lot of these in Maine. Now, for garages or sheds or even houses, we'd be putting 2 inches of styrofoam down before we do the forms in the slab. But what this slab is going to be used for at the golf course is basically when people are out playing golf and they're going from one hole to the other, they're going to be able to stop the golf cart right here, and they're going to have a cookout here. They're going to have grills set up, so they can get burgers and hot dogs and all kinds of stuff. So it's basically just a slab for that. They may or may not put posts on it with a roof. I don't know about that yet, but they're building it. So, if they did down the road want to put a building on it, they could. This slab's going to be good and rugged, but you could use a slab that's built like this for a shed, for a garage, like I said, even a house. The only difference is if you're going to heat it, you'd put 2 inches of styrofoam under it and you'd be fine. You wouldn't have to worry about the frost moving it or anything like that. Now, if you want to learn step by step how to do slabs like this, set them up, form them, pour them, finish them, just like on this video, you can join the Concrete Underground. I have a concrete slab course. Both of them are down in the description of the video. And that'll teach you in all my training. I have all kinds of training videos in there that'll walk you through each step, how to do this yourself and learn how to do it. Pour the concrete, finish the concrete and everything. But this is the basic way we do a slab, almost all our slabs like this. And, this is the right way to do it right here. So we already poured some concrete up here today and we finished that concrete. That's on a previous video if you want to check that out. And now we're going around, we got this slab to set up here, and then down the road just a little ways they have a driving range. We got a little slab to do over there. That'll be on a different video. All right, so here's pour day. This is the very next day. And might I mention that if you're new to my channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit subscribe and then put new sub down in the comments, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win some of the gear that we wear. These hoodies I got on, a yellow one, Darren's got a gray one on, t-shirts. I pick one each week and then I announce it, and then just put new sub down in the comments because that's how I find you. Now, if you're a returning viewer, if you've already subscribed, if you've been watching my stuff for a long time, then just put old sub there and I'll have another drawing for you guys to win some free stuff too. This was the only access we had, so it's a good thing this company has what we call a conveyor truck. That reaches 40 feet and we had to go about 45 feet. So with a little boot on the end, it made it pretty easy, but that truck holds 9.5 yards of concrete, so we'll go as far as we can with this 9.5 yards. It's not going to completely finish it, I don't think. And then if we have to reach it with a truck chute after that from a second truck, we'll do that. But we're pouring this slab and another slab down the road with this on the same day. But today's video is just about doing this slab. Now the finish on this is going to be a little bit special. You're going to get to see there's a certain type of stamp that we're going to use today that it's going to help just give these people an idea which direction they're going. So make sure you stick around for the whole video to see how we're gonna stamp that in this slab. It's pretty cool. Now the mix we're using a 4,000 psi mix. It does have fiber mesh in it for another type of reinforcement. We got the fiberglass rebar. You can see we tied a mat of that in. We're pulling that up as we go. It's got air entrainment in it, so we'll put this is, as far as we know, this is going to be exposed, year round to a lot of freeze and thaw cycles. So air entrainment, and we'll just finish that. We're going to finish it with a broom finish, but we're going to put a special stamp in it too. Now, them guys, they came back after we formed this up. They came back and they kind of filled in. You can see how they filled in on the outside of the forms with some backfill for us, which, I'll tell you something, that's good while we're pouring here. it makes it good, because we don't want the forms to bow out, right? But when we go to strip this after the next day, we got to dig all that dirt back out just to get the forms out. So it's kind of a double-sided sword right there, if you want to call it. There's a lot of work to digging that out, but we don't want to have to fight to try to keep the forms. And you can see we're they actually pushed them in a little bit. So we got a steel rod there we're using to kind of push them up, back out. We got a string. It's hard to see on this video right here, but we got a string we're using along the top of the forms to make sure the forms are straight as we're pouring it. So that's it for Brian. Brian's the concrete truck driver. He's empty. There's 9.5 yards of concrete right there. The second truck, I believe he's already here. He's way in the background on the other side of this truck. I can see him back there. So we'll be able to get him close enough just to use the concrete right out of his chute. And this is how we pour concrete right here. This is how we do everything. We set those forms to grade. We mag float the edges. And, you know, we're just going to hand screed this. I guess we could have got our vibrating screed out if we wanted to and use that today. But a lot of times on these smaller pours, we'll just screed them by hand. It's not that big a deal. Oh, maybe he had just a little bit left on there, I guess, before he's... Oh, I know what they were doing. They were pulling him ahead a little bit. That's because that conveyor will telescope in and out about 10 feet. So once he pulls that back, the 10 feet, you know, then you got to pull the truck ahead a little bit, telescope it back out to finish pouring. So that's what they did. He wasn't completely out yet. Generally, most of the time, we'll just dump that first truck right out before we even do anything, just to get him out of the way, get him washed up so he can head back to the plant, then get that second truck. Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do that on this one, but he's got to be about out. I think he's about out right now. See how fast his drum was spinning? Brian's kind of scraping his chute down, getting it up, cleaning it up off the conveyor. That second truck's going to go down, turn around. There he is right there. So he has a little better access into this road. Actually, it's a golf cart path. It's not even really a road to get in here. This is up in Vassalboro, Maine. This is Natanis Golf Course. If you like playing golf, you could check that out. They have 2 full 18-hole golf courses. Very nice place to play. A lot of people come and play golf here. What's cool about them is they have electric golf carts. So they have solar-powered, battery-operated golf carts, which is a lot different than a lot of other places you go. And they've been adding those on. You can kind of see in the background those posts on those 4x4s, and there's some golf carts parked along the road. Those are the charging stations way in the background. We did some concrete for them. That's in another video too if you want to check that out. And so we did those 2 years ago, and then we added on some more this year, you know, on another video I did just before this one. I think they added about 10 more stations. So they're moving more and more into the battery-operated golf carts than the propane ones, and they like those a lot better. So 9.5 yards wasn't quite enough to finish that slab. It figured around 11, so it's actually looking pretty good for what it figured. And then this is Tim here, the driver. We'll take Tim up the road and pour the other little slab at the driving range after this to finish him off. That'll be on the next video. That's another little different type of slab we did up there. So, you know, make sure you subscribe, come back and check that one out. Now, this is early in the morning. This is like 6:30 a.m. in the morning. You can see there's people already here playing golf. They get up here real early. One thing I hadn't seen before is a lot of these people, they don't use the golf carts. They'll have their golf bags on like a little set of wheels with a handle, right? The one, you know, you just pull them around. Well, the difference was these people don't pull them. They're like remote controlled, battery operated bag carts. So they just go by themselves. So all these people are just walking behind their golf bags. And I should have got that on video. That was pretty cool. That are remote controlled. That was the first time I'd seen those. Anytime I'd ever play golf, you get the little pull cart, put your bag on it, and you kind of just pull it around as you go. Not these people. They must play every day, and pulling that thing for 18 holes probably isn't any fun either. I don't know. Let me know if you guys have seen those down in the comments. A little bit overcast today. It is warm. Boys are down to their t-shirts already, so it's probably in the 50s. It's early in the spring here in Maine, and just getting things going as far as concrete this year. We usually have a winter of December, January, February, and that, a lot of times that'll go well into March before we start doing too much outside stuff like this. So it's generally around April things start getting fairly busy for us. This is April here in Maine. Concrete's setting up pretty good. You can tell by the bull float right there. I got to go over that multiple times. So that's a good thing. At least we know the concrete's setting up. Now the finish on this, so we'll go over it. We're going to finish this just like we would a pool deck, a sidewalk, a patio, a broom finish patio. And then we're going to add what we call a compass stamp. So the compass stamp has north, south, east, and west. Got a nice little border. It's got like a rock type stone texture to it. Really, really cool looking stamp. It's circular. It's about 4 feet around. And the owner told us exactly where he wants it to go. He told us exactly which way is north. So we'll be able to line it up, and make sure we get it in the right position. And, we kind of offered that to him just to make this a little bit different than, most slabs, broom finish slabs would be. Yeah, the boys are headed down to do that other slab. Now we'll get on this. We'll funny float it. We'll mag float it out by hand, usually twice, before we pull the broom over it. We'll have what we call a medium, kind of a medium broom finish. All right, so this Darren's got the funny float right there. He's over there to the right. Now that is like we call that like pre-mag floating it out. I've got the walk behind edger I'm using, just trying that out. That's actually the first time I've used that. So we like to, if you don't get on it early enough with that funny float, then just forget it. You're not going to be able to get it down. It's hard to get a lot of head pressure on that with a handle, but if you get on it at the right time, looks like Darren's got on it pretty good. He might have been able to get on it a little bit earlier. He's going to float that out, and that's basically just to get get all those bull float marks out, smooth it out initially one time, and just make the whole finishing process go a little bit easier. You can see if he'd been 15 or 20 minutes earlier, that would have floated out a lot easier. So Luke decided, you know what, I'll just get on it with my skids. Can push down a lot harder by hand when you mag float it like that. It's definitely early enough for that type of floating. Just a little firm for a funny float right there. And it was the same for that walk behind edger. It was just a little bit firm for that. And remember, we had to go down the road and pour another slab. Otherwise, if we didn't have to pour that other slab, we would have just stayed right here and started the finishing process right after we got done pouring. But we wanted to make sure we got both slabs poured today for these guys. So finishing concrete is definitely all about timing, and the timing is probably one of the toughest parts to learn if you've never done concrete before, or if you're new to concrete, you work for somebody. and they don't really go over the details with you, or they don't teach you anything. That's why I developed the concrete underground training area for people that want to learn how to finish concrete, and put all my training videos in there. And there's videos just like this one where I break down the whole process for you, tell you how long after the pour you got to wait, and that can vary depending on the type of day it is, what you should do to test the concrete for finishing, so the timing of it, when to get on it, like Luke's on it right now. What you're looking for as far as the smoothness after you mag it before you broom finish something like this. There's all kinds of timing things that go along with finishing concrete for you, for those of you that don't know. But those of you who do know, who finish concrete a lot, you've already learned that, then there's a lot to it. So I'm spraying on a liquid release right now. I don't want the concrete sticking to the stamp at all. And then the owner, pointed out he wants this thing about, 6 to 8 feet back from the front. We've already measured out where the center is, so Luke kind of knows where the center of the slab is. And then I'm looking at the north, south, east, west part of the stamp, which, the two handles go with north and south. So that makes me lining up. And then they gave me a point on the other side of the road to line that up with as far as north goes. So that's what that looks like right there. So there's, you could leave that like that. You could come back and stain that inside there and color it, make it look really cool if you want. That's always an option. But that just kind of breaks up the slab, the finished part of the slab. So I don't know, just gives it a little more detail. Now we'll saw cut joints in this. We won't do it today. We got to come back and strip the forms early in the morning the next day anyway. So we'll leave this, and when we get back, we'll saw cut joints in this for, expansion, contraction, whatever you want to call it. But to try to help control any just random cracks from developing, we always saw cut joints. I guess we could have tooled them in too today. This slab isn't that big, but for whatever reason, we just decided to saw them in. So again, if you want to learn how to do this stuff, maybe you're thinking of doing your own slab, you want to save some money or whatever, you could join the Concrete Underground. That's a monthly thing in there. You could stay a month, you could stay a year, or you could actually buy the lifetime access part and come work with us for a week right alongside us on a job like this, doing, hands-on training. Or you could just buy my concrete slab course, and you'll have that forever. So that's a one-time fee, and it teaches you from start to finish, just like you're watching right here. I got multiple different slabs in there, training courses that teach you everything about how to do this stuff. The only difference is you don't get the hands-on training with the lifetime access of the other one. But some people are kind of handy. They like to do their own things, and that's why I designed those. So Darren will just finish up doing the edger mark, and then we're gonna load up what we need in the trucks, drive up the road. The other slab's up the road, right where you can see the road turn, kind of curve to the right. It's right up there, so it's not very far away. Matter of fact, you can see the guy with the excavator coming down the road now. So probably a quarter of a mile up the road is the other slab. But again, there'll be a couple other videos pop up here I think will pique your interest. Make sure you check those out from previous videos we did. Make sure you subscribe. If you're new, put new sub down in the comments. If you're a returner, put old sub down in the comments. And, look for the drawing. And then we'll just see you guys on the next one.